Welcome to week 3 of Walker Viking football on TV 55. We are privileged tonight to have with us for our opening session Coach John Holliday, the coach of the Vikings, second-year coach. They are 1-1 after 2 games, and Coach, tonight Mcadory comes in here 2-0. You guys coming off a loss. What are you expecting tonight out of your Vikings?
Tough game. I think we'll be ready. We had a good week of practice, coming off a tough loss. Where we had a situation in the Coleman game. Last year we quit. This past year, this year we didn't. Friday night we had a chance to. We had a chance to come back and win the game, though. And I was real proud of our kids. I'm not big on moral victories. It was something for us to build on. We talked about it. There was no blaming. There was no pointing fingers on that loss. If there had been any, it would have been me. If there was any, but they took it hard because of the time and effort they put into it. And we really had a good week. We've gone back and said, hey, listen, we worked too hard during the week to come out with a loss. It's too fun to win, and real proud of the way they responded with a good week.
Well, that's exactly what we said on the broadcast last week, is that last year we laid down and died against Coleman, and this year we did not. We fought the second half. So that's a good sign. Coming in tonight to Mcadory 2-0, Coach, what are you expecting out of them?
Oh, rank fourth. Speed, fast, quick. Did I mention fast? Just speed everywhere. They run a double wing offense, speed sweeps on the outside, trap on the inside, a little counter, and we're going to have, because of their speed, if they get in open field, it's going to be tough for us to stop them. We got to stop them before they get going. We're going to have to be a little unsound on our defense in the passing area because we're going to have to stop them. So, they may get a big play or two passing-wise, but we'd rather them chance that, put the ball in the air, than just say, okay, get what you want to on the ground. So we're going to do those things. Offensively, we're going to have to sustain some drives. Run the football. We got those five senior offensive linemen. We're going to get behind them and run the football and try to be effective there. Quit making turnovers and penalties. Special teams got to improve from last week. Is what we got to do tonight.
Well, obviously, you've got to be pleased with your defense, the way Mitchell Spates has been playing, leading the county in tackles, and he's just been a leader out on the field so far this year.
He has, and he is really just a pleasure to coach. I mean, he's all over the field, and he wants to be a leader. Came in and talked to me, Coach, I need to be a better leader. I need to be, I said, Mitchell is all types of leaders, by example. By the way, I said, and there's vocal leaders. And he said, well, Coach, I want to be more of a vocal leader. What I do. So we talked about that, but he's an inspiration to our defense. And Fred's playing fast as well. First year over there, still coming back off that knee. So we got some, and some more guys. We just got to play a little faster. Our up front people got to play a little faster tonight.
Offensively this year, we've been hampered maybe a little bit. We were counting on Jared Henderson to be our offensive leader at quarterback, being a senior, having started last year, all year as a varsity quarterback, and a little bit of a setback the past 2 weeks, but I understand that Jared's ready to go tonight.
His eligibility questions just came up, and we had to be 100%. And so he's ready. We'll play tonight. Max will start. Max has done a good job. Being a 10th grader, playing on this level is tough and not being in our system. But Max has done a really good job of putting us in position to win some ball games. But Jared is ready. Jared's fired up, ready to go. It was very difficult for me to go in there and look at that kid and say, listen, you can't play. It's tough. You and I know there's life after football. But right now to those kids, it's very important to them. And it's important to me as well. But so he's ready and had a really good week and fired up. And the kids have rallied around. So hopefully he'll be a little spark plug on offense tonight.
Absolutely. Well, we do appreciate Coach Holliday coming by tonight. The team's getting ready, prepping to go out on the field. Mitchell's going to step in here as Coach Holliday steps out. Coach Holliday, thanks, and great game tonight, okay?
Thank you.
Well, Mitchell, you heard Coach Holliday and what he had to say. They had a good week of practice. He said he didn't believe in moral victories. I don't either necessarily, but they had a good week of practice. Are ready to go tonight against a very good Mcadory team.
Yes, Greg, I'm anxious to see how the defense plays tonight. Like I said, they stepped up. I feel like the team grew up last week. Like I said, he may not believe in moral victories, but the way they didn't lay down and die like they did the year before against Coleman, I think shows that they did grow up a lot last week. And I'm anxious to see what Mitchell Spates and Jones can do tonight and just see if the defense can hold Mcadory down. They scored 42 and 40, so I'd like to see the defense hold them to 0, maybe even 7, but 0 hopefully. But I'm anxious to see that if the offense with Jared Henderson can move the ball. So that's going to be an exciting game. I know it's not a region game, but it's going to be excitement to have a game like this here at Walker.
Well, there's going to be a lot of speed on the field tonight. It's going to be very interesting with Mcadory putting up 82 points in the first 2 weeks. We struggled a little bit last week, but we know we've got a lot of speed in our backfield. We've got a lot of weapons, and so tonight could be a foot race up and down the field.
Yeah, if you're watching the game, you may have a hard time keeping up with it because, like I said, they've got speed all over the field, so you know how them games are. They are hard to keep up with, and maybe we'll come up on top of it.
A lot of excitement tonight here for Mcadory Walker. We'll be back in just a few moments with the kickoff. Welcome to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman here for this contest between the Mcadory Yellow Jackets and the Walker Vikings. We are ready for the coin toss. And you hear the referee now giving instructions.
You're on the business team, so you get to call the toss.
Captains for Walker, number 54, Alex Estes, number 24, Bert Bowers, number 37, Bobby Tucker, and number 18, Fred Jones.
Toss tails, Mr. Umpire. If I drop it, we'll do it again. What is it? It is tails. What would you like to do? Would you like to defer? Which end of the two? I'll move around there and you come around here.
Mcadory has won the toss. They have deferred until the second half.
Well, we don't have to say it for you. You heard it from the public address announcer. Mcadory won the toss. They declined, and so Walker will get the football first. We'll get our first opportunity on offense. We'll be back in just a moment with the kickoff. Here come the Vikings. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman and the TV 55 crew, proud to bring you week 3 of Walker Viking football. The Vikings, as you can see, clad in their black uniforms, black jerseys, black pants, black helmets, black socks. They're back in black tonight, Mitchell.
Absolutely, Greg. They're playing another black and white team. Come in here, number 4 in the state. And the Mcadory Yellow Jackets, I believe it is.
Correct.
It's very rare, Greg, you get 2 games like this back-to-back at home. And the Vikings have done it. They had a tough challenge last week. Played well, come out on the short end of the stick, and hopefully they can repeat tonight, play even better, come out with a victory.
Well, it doesn't get much better than this. Last week we hosted number 3 in the state. This week, number 4 in the state. So the Vikings have their work cut out for them. Back deep to receive for the Vikings, number 18, Fred Jones, one of the captains tonight. And on the other side, Lamar Stewart. So some speed back there to receive the opening kick, Mitchell.
Yeah, Greg, I hope we'll get a good return here and don't hurt ourselves by being stuck in our own end zone or the shadow of our end zone.
And here comes the kick. It's a line drive that's going to sail over Fred Jones' head, out of his reach, into and through the end zone for the touchback. So we will begin at our own 20-yard line, and the good news is tonight we have our full complement of quarterbacks. Max Young will start, as you heard Coach Holliday say in the pregame, but Jared Henderson is eligible, and he will play tonight. So an opportunity to see how perhaps the tandem of quarterbacks is going to work out.
Yeah, see how Henderson does coming in here. Like I said, he hasn't played in the first 2 games, but see how he does tonight. See if he can move this offense. And like I said, it hadn't been terrible. So hopefully we can just keep right on going.
C.J. Harris in motion. The give is going to be to the second man through, and that's Lamar Stewart, number 20. And Lamar is going to have about 10 yards, and yes, indeed, a little more than 10. He's across the 30 for the first down. So it'll be 1st and 10 on that 10-yard gain, Mitchell.
Yeah, Greg, just a good start to the night. Moving the ball on the ground. Like I said, we're going to open up the pass.
See our offensive linemen tonight. Alex Estes, a captain. Brian Thomas, Cody Waldrop, the center. July Henson. Fred Jones in the backfield, Bert Bowers, C.J. Harris, Jacob Sparkman, a receiver, and Cameron Harris, a receiver, and there's your quarterback, Max Young. He is number 4 on the field. Although he's number 9 in that picture, he is number 4 on the field. Max, a 10th grader, doing a good job this year with the Vikings. Here's the give inside to Lamar Stewart, and Lamar's going to have big yardage this time as well, running through a couple of tackles and breaking it out to the 45-yard line for a gain of 15. So 2 carries, 25 yards, 12.5 yards a carry. We'll settle for that.
Good start. Hey, I don't know if you know I know they didn't get scored on, but let's see, they won 42-0, and
they put up 40 the first week,
40.
and I don't know if anybody scored on them. But so far, 2 big runs, and it looks like we might be able to do that, and of all things, between the tackles.
Yeah, and I didn't know if they got – evidently they didn't move the ball too well on them before, but it looks like might be able to run the ball some.
So it's a 1st and 10 from the Viking 45. Another give to Stewart between the tackles, and Stewart this time is going to have about another 7 yards down to the 48-yard line of Mcadory. So a big gain will bring up a 2nd down and 3. And right now the offensive line is just pushing the defensive line of the Mcadory Yellow Jackets out of the way.
Doing their job right now, opening the holes and giving Stewart plenty of room. I'm right here. You're 2nd and 3. I mean, that's where you want to be, Greg. 2nd and short.
An opportunity to take a chance on a big pass maybe here. 2nd and 3. Trips left, one receiver to the right. Going to give it instead to Fred Jones, and Fred's got the 1st down, keeps those feet driving forward. He's got the 1st down inside the 45 to the 44, so a gain of 4 by Fred. And we may be content just to grind this thing out. And against a team with a lot of speed like Mcadory has, Mitchell, the best defense is to keep the ball on offense and just grind it out.
Yeah, and Greg, you see Henderson coming in there, number 9 there. That actually is number 9.
His first varsity opportunity this 2008 season, being ineligible the first 2 games, but all of that squared away. Everything is A-OK, and Henderson, the senior, is in the game, and he will give it to Bert Bowers, and Bert will struggle forward inside the 40 to the 39. He's got 4 yards on that carry, so it'll be a 2nd down and 6 as Bert gets 4 to the 39. Running at will at this point.
Yeah, Greg getting chunks, 4 and 5 and 7 yards a carry. I mean, got to be happy with that right now. I'm sure Mcadory might have been thinking, hey, they may pass, bring it. I mean, I'm sure they hadn't seen any tape on Henderson, so sure they didn't know what to expect.
Well, the old coaches would sure love this, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Right now we're grinding it out on the ground and doing an excellent job of it. And here's Henderson giving to Stewart. So far, 3 backs running the ball, and Stewart's going to be really close to the 1st down. I think depending on the spot, he's going to have the 1st down. It looks like he will have to the 33-yard line. We'll see. They'll line it up, and the referees will take a look at it. They'll eyeball it and see.
The guy,
and it is a 1st down. They don't have to measure. It is a 1st down.
Yeah, I was gonna say that guy already flipped the chart over there, so he's pretty. He figured it was over there on the side, but that's just. I mean, right now, good movement, Greg. I mean, they may be, like you said, content with keeping the ball on the ground, keeping the clock grinding, and I mean, they're not having any trouble moving it right now. So
far, this drive has consumed 3 minutes. We took it at our own 20, and we have steadily moved the ball down the field. Only faced 1 3rd down on this drive, and that was easily converted. And now there will be a 5-yard penalty against Mcadory for offsides as a lineman jumped on the hard snap count by Henderson. So it'll be 1st and 5 as the ball is moved forward to the 28-yard line. 1st and 5 from that point. So far, Stewart has run the ball, Bowers has run the ball, and Jones has run the ball. So we're going to keep those guys fresh doing it that way.
Yeah, using a mix of them. Nobody, like I said, Stewart's had he got 3 carries, 32 yards, Greg. That's a quarter's worth of work on 3 carries.
So it will be a 1st down now. Maybe we'll see our first pass of the game here, as Henderson is in the game for his first varsity experience of the season. Jones in the backfield with him, trips left. Here comes the option. Henderson's going to keep it, and he's going to be forward for the 1st down perhaps. It's going to be another one of those where they have to look very carefully to see. I think this one's going to be a little bit short. And it is just nope, we're going to have a stop. Nope, they are going to call it a 2nd down. 2nd down, a very short, less than a yard, as Henderson gets about 5 on that play. Have to officially give him 4 since it wasn't a 1st down. So our receivers tonight so far have turned into blockers, but they will get an opportunity before the night's over. Right now our offense methodically moving the ball down the field, and there's going to be a timeout by the Vikings. Timeout. So we'll take a timeout too. 7:52 to go here in the 1st quarter. We'll be back in just a moment with the Walker Viking Drive. We're back here to live action. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman watching with pleasure the Vikings drive the ball, and they have done so without a miscue to this point. Max Young started the game, got the Vikings to just about midfield. It's been Jared Henderson since then. Second down and short as Henderson's back to throw. Got a man open across the middle, and that man is Jacob Sparkman. And I'll tell you this much, if there's anybody on the field that's sure-handed, it is Jacob Sparkman. We saw him last year, Mitchell, in critical situations, being the go-to guy. When Corey Wilkes needed somebody in a short yardage situation that had to catch the ball, he very often found Jacob Sparkman. And in this case, Sparkman catches the ball, and it's a first down at the 16-yard line, or at the 11-yard line.
Still can get another first down. And
here's the give to Bowers, and Bowers is caught by one arm, and it looked like a face mask, but I believe what happened there is the Mcadory player caught Burt's jersey and just kind of spun him around. Looked worse than it probably was, but as it is, Burt got 6 down to the 5-yard line. So Henderson's first pass as a Walker Viking, a completion, and a first down.
Got to start somewhere, don't he? So, I mean, like I said, Sparkman doing a good job hanging on to the ball.
So it's a second down now and 4 from the 5-yard line. Here's the pitch to Fred Jones, Mr. Touchdown, and Fred Jones is going to be in, no problem. It's almost a given. You know, Mitchell, it's kind of like a golf game. When you're playing golf with your buddies and you hit one to within about 3 feet of the hole, it's just a gimme. So if we get the ball within 5 yards of the goal line, we should just tell the other team, look, we got Fred Jones. It's just a gimme. Go ahead and let's just get this over with.
Gimme, it saved them time.
It sure would.
Just say, hey, we got a gimme here.
Let's just go ahead and get Prevost out on the field and let him kick the extra point, because there's going to be no question about it. It's going to be a touchdown.
Well, I had a buddy, Greg, that used to have a real short rubber handle and a long shaft so he could get gimmies further than everybody. So we might get him from the 6 on this.
we might do anything inside the 10 maybe. Matthew Prevost out of the hold of Hood. Dustin Hood kicks it through. So Walker leads 7-0, 6:52 to go. We'll take a break. We'll be back in just a moment with the kickoff. Back here at Cairo Gambrell Field, set for the kickoff, Matthew Prevost, number 38, and the crew getting ready to kick. Matthew doing a good job this year kicking for the Vikings, sure-footed on the extra points, not had a lot of opportunities for field goals at this point, but a good job on the kickoffs as well, and we're sure going to try to keep it away from the speed of Mcadory, and the ball's going to go out of bounds, so Mcadory will take over on their 35, not attempting to catch over there. Last week, of course, against Coleman, they kicked the ball to us like that a number of times, and we fair caught the ball. But Mcadory not choosing to fair catch, so they will take the ball on the 35, 1st and 10. And Mitchell, as we talked about in the pregame, it's one of those games of speed, and of course, there on the first drive, we were more about power than speed, but we're likely to see here some wide stuff from Mcadory.
Yeah, Mcadory is known to have, like I said, a lot of speed, a lot of excitement. One time they had a lot of speed down there back when Bo Jackson was down there. So
they have produced some quality athletes across the years. None better than Bo. 1st and 10 for Mcadory from their own 45. Man in motion. Here's the give up the middle on a little misdirection, and he's stuffed at the line of scrimmage, but the pile moves forward for 3 yards. Getting off the bottom of that pile is Fred Jones, one of the leading tacklers for the Vikings, and then Walker County, and also Bobby Tucker getting up from the bottom of that pile.
Yeah, Greg, I read with Mitchell Spates and Jones both. There you got linebackers Fred Jones, Mitchell Spates, and Josh Freeman. And then secondary, Jamarcus Carey, Wesley Smith, Dustin Hood, and Jaquez Kirk.
So it's a 2nd down and 7 as the ball is at the 38-yard line. Man in motion again. This time it'll be a pass. It's going to be a long pass. It's hanging up in the air. It's going to be picked off. Jaquez Kirk has got the ball, and he's on the move. Jaquez slides down about the 45-yard line, and there's a flag coming in afterwards. I didn't see what occurred, Mitchell. Did you?
I think that guy, when he slid down, he come on in there and dove in on him, if I'm not mistaken.
So we may have a spearing penalty on top of all that, late hit or spearing against Mcadory, which would be a 15-yard penalty after the fact, and that's going to be against Mcadory because they're talking to Mitchell Spates. Oh, it's a face mask.
Face mask, okay.
Face mask, and it'll be a 15-yard penalty.
Well, he slid down. They must have come in there and grabbed his face mask when he was on the ground or something.
That ball was in the air a long time, and any time you have that much air under the ball, you're likely to get at least a chance to pick it off.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to come on back to the ball, break on it, and he just went up and got the ball.
That's one of the easiest picks we'll have all year. Jaquise doing a good job catching it at its highest point. Then the defense turning into offense as Jaquise returns it to the Mcadory 45, and it's a 5-yard face mask penalty, so we still have that in high school athletics. Incidental face mask, 5 yards. Henderson back on the field now, and the give is to Bowers running between the tackles again, and Bowers is going to have about 3 yards to the 37. It'll be a 2nd down and 7. Content to stay inside the tackles, Mitchell.
Yeah, I guess we're going with what they're going to force Mcadory to try to stop it, and then they might try something else. But without Mcadory, they had no answer for it the first drive, so I guess they're content to drive it on down there and get some more points. Hopefully, we'll get some more points.
Two backs in the backfield now with Henderson, and that is Bowers and Stewart. And our backfield this year has been very, very solid. All 3 guys who've done the load of the running, quality runners, sure-handed, and this time the give will be to Stewart, and Stewart is going to be grabbed and pulled down at the 36, so only a gain of a yard. They caught him as he was making a move to the outside, and he was leaning, Mitchell, so that tackle looked worse than it was, but it's simply because of the way Lamar's momentum was going.
Yeah, he didn't, like I said, he was cut. Well, they got a timeout.
There's going to be a heat timeout with 4 minutes and 51 seconds to go here in the first quarter. The Vikings lead the Yellow Jackets 7-0. We'll be back in just a moment. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Vikings on the move again. And it is now a 3rd down, our longest 3rd down of the night. 3rd down and 7 for the Vikings. And here's the give to Stewart around the end. Get a chance to showcase that speed as he runs away from a couple of tacklers and dives toward the yardage marker. And I do believe that he got the 1st down. And that's kind of what we like to see, is give Lamar a chance to show off his speed, because he's got it to burn.
Yeah, Greg, he just got outside and was able to make the moves to get on outside the box, get up the field.
So it is a 1st down at the 29-yard line. Lamar probably the fastest man on the field.
Had a little headset trouble there, Greg. Sorry about that.
No problem. 1st down and 10 at the 29-yard line of Mcadory. The Vikings already lead 7-0, as you see, and they're looking to put more points on the board here in this first quarter as we're nearing 4 minutes to go. Henderson calling his count. 3 receivers to the right, and it is going to be a pass. Henderson throws out into the flat, got a man wide open. That's C.J. Harris, who makes a couple of moves, and he fumbled. C.J. fumbled the football, and it's Mcadory ball. Mcadory football as C.J. gives it up. Good pass, good catch. C.J. struggling for yardage and simply coughed it up to the Mcadory Yellow Jackets, and that'll end that drive. And this is the thing that we talked about in the pregame, or that we discussed among ourselves. We're talking back and forth about how we feel about the game tonight, and I feel like, Mitchell, we're going to be in any game we play this year as long as we do not turn the ball over.
Absolutely, Greg, and we just got to secure that ball. When we know there's contact, we got to secure it.
Mcadory now set for their 2nd drive. They gave it up on an interception to Jaquise Kirk. They are at their own 13-yard line. There's a fumble by Mcadory. Fumbled by Mcadory as the back simply drops the football. And they'll sort things out. A Viking comes out there with it, Mitchell Spates. That leaves no question about it. The referees are looking for the ball. Mitchell's running away from the pile with the ball in his hand, so the Yellow Jackets give it right back to the Vikings. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Greg, that's what we needed. I mean, I don't think they ever made the exchange on that one, Greg. He when he went to make the exchange, it fumbled forward, and Spates is going to be wherever that ball's at. If it's in a running back's arms, or if it's on the ground, or he's going to find that ball.
Well, Mitchell has done something phenomenal in the first 2 games. He's had 33 tackles. That is unheard of to have 33 tackles in 2 games.
He's 11 ahead of the closest other person in the county.
Absolutely amazing the kind of football that Mitchell Spates is playing. Here's a give to Burt Bowers. Burt spins and twists and falls forward to the 12-yard line. So Burt's got a nice gain there of 5 yards. 2nd down and 5 from the 12. So right now our back's doing a good job of running the football hard inside the tackles. 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Vikings, of course, are ahead. And looking to add to that, a quick turn of events, an interception, and 2 quick fumbles, and we've got the football back.
Right here, ready to knock on the door again, Greg.
Trips right as Brandon Douglas comes in motion. Now Henderson's going to roll. Got a man looking, throws. Got a man open. It's caught. That was Douglas. There's a flag on the play afterwards. So actually, I don't think it was Douglas. I think it was Lamar Stewart. And there was a flag that came in at the end of that play. Let's see what the signal's going to be from the referee. Talking to Mcadory, so it's against the Vikings. And one of the things you heard Coach Holliday say is we had to cut out the penalties, and especially the personal foul penalties. This one's going to be an illegal block in the back, illegal use of the hands. That's a big one down inside the goal line. So Mitchell, the play was good for a 1st down inside the 5. But once the penalty is marked off, it won't be. So it's going to come back to the 14-yard line, looks like. Maybe the 13. So the 13-yard line. So after all of that, a loss of a yard to repeat the 2nd down. 2nd and 6 now instead of 2nd and 5 as Henderson's pass was complete, but there was a penalty. So far, the offensive line doing an excellent job tonight. Our receivers running to open areas, and we've seen them catch the ball. Henderson 3 for 3 at this point. Here's the give to Jones. Jones around the left end, darting and a little too quick for his own good as the last move. He falls to the ground, wasn't really tackled so much as just trying to go so fast his feet came out from under him. But it's a nice gain by Jones. It's going to leave us with about a 3rd down and a yard.
It's 3rd down and a long one.
The ball's at the 6-yard line now. Actually, I think it's the 9-yard line. Correction on that. The 9-yard line, 3rd and 1, and here's Henderson getting behind Cody Waldrop in the offensive line and buries his head and just lunges forward and has an easy 1st down as we are just whipping the defensive front of Mcadory.
Blowing him out of the way, Greg. I mean, like I said, that was so easy. He just followed his line, right? I mean,
Vikings have 1st and goal.
Picked up, 3 or 4 yards right there, so.
First
needed 1 and pick up 3 or 4. You know your line's moved them guys back.
1st and goal from the 6 now for Henderson and the Yellow Jackets. Wishbone backfield for Henderson. And here's the quick pitch. There's Mr. Touchdown. And Fred Jones, believe it or not, is stopped at the 6-yard line, so no gain.
Fred Jones at right end.
If I had bet, I would have certainly lost on that one. But good penetration this time by the Mcadory Yellow Jackets to stop Jones at the line of scrimmage.
I guess they're determined not to let Jones get in there. They heard what you said about the gimme.
They took up the challenge, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't like that gimme.
They're proving there are no gimmies. So
I played golf with a guy that wouldn't let me have a gimme too,
So you quit playing with him though,
yeah,
right?
Some people are like that.
2nd down, and guess who's running the football? Mitchell Spates running from the fullback position. And Mitchell getting a taste of what he gives other people, and that is meeting them face mask to face mask and stopping them for no gain. And as a matter of fact, a loss of 2 on the play, back to the 8. So our first opportunity here maybe to look at a passing play down near the goal line. And out of the game comes number 57 for the Vikings, Joseph McDonald. Had the big fellas in there again. 45 seconds to go here in the first quarter. The Vikings looking to add to their 7-point lead. Wishbone backfield, one receiver split to the left as Henderson calls his count. Under center now. Henderson with the handoff to Jones, who spins outside. And boy, I'm telling you what, the Mcadory defense really rose up on that series and stuffed the Vikings. We had a 1st and goal at the 6, and we lost back to the 13, it looks like. So instead of gaining, we lost 7 yards on that drive. And so Matthew Prevost gets a chance, Mitchell, to come in and try to add to the lead by kicking a field goal. And it's right in the center of the field at the 20-yard line, so it's going to be a 30-yard attempt. And that's the end of the quarter, so Matthew will have a whole minute or two to think about it as we switch ends of the field. The Vikings lead after 1 quarter of play, 7-0. We'll be back in just a moment with the Prevost field goal attempt. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman, the TV 55 crew, getting set for the opening play of the second quarter, and it's going to be a Matthew Prevost field goal attempt. Holding will be Dustin Hood. So far, Mitchell, the reverse of last week where our defense spent the whole first quarter on the field, and tonight it's been our offense who spent the whole first quarter on the field, and that's a whole lot better.
That's a welcome change right there.
30-yard attempt, and you're going to get a good look at it right here. Snap is good, the hold is good, and the kick is blocked. It's blocked by Mcadory, and they can pick it up and advance it if they choose. They attempted to, but couldn't quite pick it up, but it will be their ball. So a big play there by the Mcadory defense to block that Prevost field goal attempt. So no points for the Vikings twice now, Mitchell. We've been inside the red zone, and we've come up empty-handed. That's not what you want to see when you get inside the red zone.
No, Greg, we got to cash those in. I mean, you got to put these Mcadory away early and stay on top of them, because I'm sure they're waiting to pounce now.
Mcadory put up 42 points last week, 40 the first week. We've held them scoreless so far. Let's hope the defense can keep that up. Here's the give up the middle and the first big run by Mcadory. The ball was at the 24. It's a gain of 6 to the 30-yard line. So the first time tonight that we've really seen any sign of life out of Mcadory, as we've had the ball the entire first quarter. I suspect, Mitchell, we had the ball 10 minutes out of the 12 in the first quarter.
Had to, because they ran a couple run plays and then threw the ball and we intercepted it, and then they had the one fumble on the initial carry. So
about 4 offensive plays so far for Mcadory. Man in motion to the left. Here's the give up the middle to the fullback, and he's stopped by Joseph McDonald, J.J. Callahan, Josh Freeman in there. The guys' names that we have called all season long, we call again tonight. Those guys that are veterans, especially the defensive line play. Joseph McDonald's the new addition to that, and Joseph has played some really outstanding football this year.
Yes, he has, Greg. He's also a senior, though, isn't he? Yeah,
he is indeed. 6'3", 239. It's a 3rd and 2 now. Big play for the Yellow Jackets. A flag will stop that, so somebody was offsides or in motion. That play never really got underway as the flag came down from the side judge. And we'll see who it affects. Talking to Mcadory, must have been someone lined up offsides by the Vikings. So that would be an automatic first down for Mcadory. They're clapping, and it's got to be that. So somebody across the line of scrimmage, across the neutral zone. Indeed, and a costly penalty there on the 3rd down and a long 2 gives Mcadory an automatic first down at their own 37-yard line. The Viking defense should be well rested. They've played very few plays. They've come up so far with 2 turnovers, an interception by Jaquise Kirk and a fumble recovery by Mitchell Spates. And here's the give around the left end, and look at those Vikings. Wow. Great pursuit and a big tackle across the sideline by number 22, Jonathan Suchy.
They really were popping out there, Greg, the defense was.
The defense looks hungry.
They hadn't had an opportunity to play tonight.
I think they got excited last week when they saw in the second half that when they did what they needed to do, they could stop the number 3 team in the state and give us an opportunity to win the game. And so far tonight, they're proving that they can stop the number 4 team. Gain of 2 on that last play. Here's the give. Dustin Hood blowing that play up. Look at that.
Excellent
Dustin,
play, Greg.
You can see what Dustin is doing if you'll watch. Dustin is reading the count, and he's just running up and blowing up the end. And what I mean by that is he's running into the end of the play, and he's preventing them getting a block on our defensive end, and then the back has nowhere to go. It's a loss of a yard on that play.
He's stopping the outside. They can't get it on the outside. He's stopping it quick, and then they're forced to turn it back into our guys.
Well, that is exactly what Dustin is doing. That's a good job by our coaching staff to recognize that, and then a good read by Dustin to get up there and clog that play up. Now it's a 3rd down and 9 from the 37-yard line. Here's going to be a throw across the middle. It's caught. It's caught. One man can make the tackle, and that man is Jaquise Kirk, and he does. But a good throw and catch by Mcadory to keep that play alive.
Yeah, he broke in front of our guys and in front of Kirk, and we didn't have. He couldn't make a play on the ball. He had him back to the receiver between him and the ball.
That was one of those hot routes across the middle. It's tough to defend. You got to have some linebacker help. But the thing they did, Mitchell, was fake the handoff, which froze the linebackers for just a count, so they're not dropping back into coverage. And then you get that quick slant, and that is very, very difficult to cover.
Yeah, he done all he could do, and that was not let him get a touchdown.
1st down and 10. Look at Fred Jones coming up and making that play. Look how quick Fred Jones is. Fred shoots the gap, misses the tackle, turns on a dime, runs back and grabs the guy for only a 3-yard gain. Now, that's quick.
He had looked like he was, when he got there too quick, missed where the running back was. Looked like he was going to, allow him to break one. But evidently, Mcadory got a penalty there.
Holding penalty against Mcadory. So somebody along the line of scrimmage holding. So that 2-yard gain will be offset by a 10-yard penalty. There's the cheerleaders. We talked to some of those girls tonight on the way in and told them that they had been on TV. They didn't even realize it. And you can see why we like to have them on the TV, because they're a whole lot better looking than Mitchell and myself.
Absolutely.
Those girls work very hard all summer long and do a great job supporting the team and the school for our athletic events. Well, it's a loss on the play of 9 yards after the penalty, so it's a 1st and 19. Here's Mcadory to pass. Got a man wide open. I mean, wide open. Nobody anywhere near the receiver. And thankfully, that pass was overthrown by about 10 yards. But, Mitchell, if the pass had been on the money, that would probably have been 6 points.
If he hadn't thrown it that far, if he'd have just thrown it to, 10 yards shorter, that'd been on the run and been to the end zone.
Some confusion on the coverage there as Jaquise Kirk dropping back in the middle of the field. And so the coach is yelling their instructions from the sideline about who's supposed to be covering that. Let's hope we don't get confused like that again. 2nd down 19. The ball is at the Mcadory 47. They've got to go to the 35 of Walker. There's the hot route again. And this time, good coverage by Jaquise. Might have gotten away with a little bump there as Jaquise came in just about the same time the ball did. Good coverage, and Jaquise made a good adjustment on that.
Yeah, he's the one that kept him from catching that ball, Greg, by making the contact right there as the ball got there. And like I said, may have been a hair early, but it wasn't enough to call.
Coaching staff yelling their instructions out on the field. 3rd down and 19 here as Mcadory facing their biggest 3rd down of the game thus far as they trail by 7. Here's the quarterback back to throw. Got a little bit of separation back there, but it's going to be picked off again. And Jaquise Kirk has his 2nd interception of the night as Jaquise running step for step with the receiver There was about a yard of separation between Jaquise and the receiver, and the ball just ever so slightly underthrown, and Jaquise did a great job of shielding the receiver from the football and getting himself in a position to catch it rather than the receiver.
Excellent job. And like I said, he found the ball and then made the move in front of the receiver, and of course he had some help there, so he could let the receiver, if he missed it, then he had help to catch the receiver if he was to catch it.
So the third turnover of the night by Mcadory, as effective as a punt would have been, because the ball is at the 14-yard line with Henderson in the game at quarterback. Here's the throw by Henderson out to C.J. Harris. It's the hook and ladder, and guess who's got it? Nobody's going to catch him. It's 6. Nobody will catch Lamar Stewart. Fantastic call by the coaching staff in what turns into an 86-yard touchdown pass. Henderson throwing out in the flat to C.J. Harris, and then he laterals to Lamar Stewart. And once Lamar turned on the jets, there was nobody. The only person I could think of who might catch him would be the great sprinter from Jamaica. Now
Usain Bolt.
Now, Lightning Bolt might have caught Lamar, but nobody else in this stadium will catch Lamar on a play like that.
He was coasting from the 25, 30-yard line, Greg.
I think he was taunting him a little bit.
He pulled a Usain and taunted him?
He did. Here's the kick by Prevost, up and good. Walker leads 14-0 with 7:48 to go in the first half. We'll take a break. We'll be back in just a moment with the Prevost. We're getting set for the kickoff. The Vikings just scoring their second touchdown. Some fun football there, Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. Everybody likes to see that, Greg, on any level.
Here's the kick by Prevost toward the left sideline, taking it to 23-yard line. And the Vikings, great coverage down the field. Rex Allred, number 39, Mitchell Spates, number 11. Rex is a senior. Rex has been around the program for a while, 5'6", 162, and Rex, of course, the son of the great Walker Viking running back from the late 70s, Ricky Allred. I'm talking about you. I have said to many people across the years that in my years of watching Walker Viking football, I don't think there was a tougher guy pound per pound than Ricky Allred. He was not big, but man, was he ever tough, and was he fast.
I don't really remember him because I was born in 75.
I appreciate that, Mitchell.
Yeah.
Here's the give up the middle to the fullback, and a good stop by the Vikings. Mitchell Spates, of course, and on that tackle, and Joseph McDonald underneath that pile somewhere making a stop. If they break the line of scrimmage, you can just pretty much count on the fact that Mitchell Spates is going to be there somewhere in the area of the tackle. If I'm a college coach watching Mitchell Spates, I've got to be salivating over him. He's a junior, 5'11", 190, so you figure he's going to get a little bit bigger by next year. Speed, mobility, a sense for where the football is. Just a great, outstanding young man, Mitchell is. A little bit of an opening, closes down pretty quickly on the second down play. And there's Bobby Tucker and Dexter Parham, and I have said mistakenly the past couple of weeks that Dexter Parham is a freshman. He is not. He's a junior, but on the program that I have, he was listed as a freshman. So I have to apologize to Dexter for that because he is a junior, 5'6", 150. So it'll be a third down now and 3. The ball is at the 36-yard line. A short 3. Mcadory needs to make the 39 in order to have a first down. Third down 3 from the 36. There's Dustin Hood blowing up that play again, and it's just messing everything up for Mcadory. The play went up the middle, but I'm just telling you, Dustin running up there like that is disrupting everything. A gain of a yard, maybe 2. Going to bring up a 4th down and 1 from the 38. What will Mcadory do here, down 2 touchdowns already?
I mean, it appears that they're going to go for it, Greg. But
We're going to have a heat timeout, so they'll get a chance to discuss it. This plays into their favor as the referee signals for a heat timeout. So with that timeout, we'll also take a timeout. Walker leads 14-0. We'll come back, see what Mcadory does. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field, and Mcadory down 2 touchdowns at least gives the appearance that they're going to go for it. Could be one of those hard counts trying to draw a Viking offsides, so we got to make sure of that. Man in motion. No, it's going to be a quarterback sneak, and he's not going to get it. Not going to get it. Underneath all of that, number 36, J.J. Callahan, and J.J. basically said nothing doing, or let's see. No, that was, let me make sure. Yeah, J.J. Callahan, sure. And he looks healthy tonight, Mitchell, for the first time. J.J. not limping at all. He had that deep thigh bruise at the beginning of the season and looks healthy tonight.
He didn't. He almost got the quarterback almost got upended, Greg, right there, and he even got a good spot. Of course, he couldn't. There's no
How did
way.
he get that spot?
I don't know. There's no way they could have gave him that, but he didn't. Still didn't get the first down.
It's going to be short by at least a half a yard, but goodness, I thought he was stopped back at least at the 37, and back inside the 38, and they've marked it outside the 38, but it's going to be short. He needed to get to the 39, so this is not a first down.
I don't even know why they would.
They're doing it just to satisfy the Mcadory coaches probably, but it's definitely not a first down. You can mark that down. Viking football after that great stop.
Yeah, that was, like I said, I guess they were wanting the measurement over there. They probably need some time they got to figure something out. They can't stop the Vikings.
What that is the goal line defense where you get low and you don't give the offense any penetration. You just get low and try to knife through there and make sure that you don't give them any penetration, and you count on the linebackers to come up and plug every hole, which is exactly what happened. That was classic goal line defense in the middle of the field, and a super job by J.J. Callahan. 1st and 10 for the Vikings from the 38 of Mcadory. Here's the give. And I couldn't tell if that was Bowers or Stewart. Burt Bowers it was, and Burt's got good yardage. Mitchell, I think we have stunned the Mcadory Yellow Jackets. I don't think they expected this to happen to them at all.
Yeah, they, like me and you was talking about in the break, they've just walked all over their other 2 opponents and hadn't had anybody come out like this and be this physical with them.
The Vikings being physical, really challenging the Yellow Jackets, and so far the Yellow Jackets have no answer, or at least not many. 2nd down and 5 for Henderson and the Vikings. Here's going to be the give to Bowers around the end, and Burt looking for room and runs into a Mcadory tackler, and Burt will have no gain on that play, maybe a loss of a half a yard, as Burt stretched it just a little too far.
He started to cut upfield in that hole, and he probably should have went ahead and got his 1 or 2 yards, and of course he didn't. It's not like he got lost 5 or 6, but he started to cut up, changed his mind, and come on around the end.
It looks easy from up here.
Yeah, we can make them all day long from up here.
Down there with 22 bodies on the field and everything moving at warp speed, finding that crevice to run through is a bit of a difficult job.
Yeah, we're a 1,000-yard rusher up here.
Easy for us
from watching.
Sitting on our perch. So it's now a 3rd down and 5 as Henderson awaits the count. Here comes the throw back, and the pass intended for Douglas, and excellent coverage that time by Mcadory all the way around. The Vikings in position on the field, Mitchell, where they can easily go for it, and I suspect that we will on 4th down. 4th and 5 from the 34 of Mcadory. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, shouldn't even be a decision here. What I was going to say a while ago, Greg, on Kurt, Parham, I never did get it in on defense a while ago. That explains a lot when you said he was a junior. That's
yeah. The way he's been playing, I thought, and I should have known better because Dexter came through the middle school where I teach, and I should have known that Dexter was older than that. But with my senility now, I can't remember if a kid's a senior or a freshman or what. So,
well, it explained a lot to me when you said that because I thought, boy, he sure is playing big for a freshman.
And Dexter's done a good job filling in, and we need to compliment our defensive backs tonight because it's a whole new defensive backfield from last year. At every position, it's new.
and they're doing a fine job. We had a big stoppage here, but I don't know what it's all about.
Let's see what it's going to be about. We're going to put some more time on the clock.
3:30, I think he said.
It looked that way. So we're going to add to that. 3:30 back on the clock. They'll tell the coaches, and the coaches will relay that to the sideline coaches will relay that to the coaches in the box, and they'll reset the clock. And he put 33 seconds on there. That's not what they wanted. There we go.
3 minutes and 30 seconds.
So we'll be set. So now it's going to be 4th down and 5. And you now know how much time there is to go here in this first half. So hopefully the Vikings can keep the drive alive here on 4th and 5 and add to their 14-point lead. Henderson ready to go, trips right. Henderson straight drop back, throw. That got a man wide open. Brandon Douglas wide open. Inside the 10, down inside the 5, down at the 3-yard line. And Mitchell will attest to the fact that we talked to one of the Mcadory coaches before the game, Joey Chambers. Joey Chambers was a coach here last year in our system. And we talked with Joey before the game, and we told him that our best receiver this year to this point had in fact been Brandon Douglas. And Brandon proving that there, but what a throw by Henderson, right?
It's right on the money, Greg. I mean, where it needed to be, I thought if he'd have thrown it a little short, it got picked.
Perfect throw there, and Henderson reaching across the goal line with the football on the quarterback sneak. So just that quickly, the Vikings got lined up in a hurry trying to catch Mcadory off guard, and they did exactly that. And so Henderson able to stretch the ball across the goal line for the touchdown, and so there's the senior getting his opportunity to score his first points. Mitchell, has he thrown an incompletion yet?
Threw one.
Just one.
Over here a while ago to Douglas when it went over Douglas's
That's
head.
right. The only one tonight that he has missed tonight. So Henderson having a great night. After Young starting tonight, Henderson coming in relief and leading the Vikings to now their 3rd touchdown. The Prevost kick is good. 3:11 to go in the first half. The Vikings lead 21-0. We'll be back in just a moment with the Prevost kickoff. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Mcadory may have put 82 on the board the past 2 weeks, but tonight they have drawn a big 0, and the Vikings have been lighting up the scoreboard. And here's Prevost's kick toward the left sideline, taking it at the 23. Vikings down on the coverage. There's Dustin Hood. First contact and a lot of other help. Getting up out from under the pile, Jaquise Kirk. There's Rex Allred again, Dexter Parham. So the names that we generally call, number 32, Genesis McWhirter. Great coverage as Mcadory would take over on its 31-yard line. Mitchell, they've got to be absolutely stunned.
I'm sure they stand amazed just like their coaches do, Greg. I mean, they did. There's no way they could have expected a 21-0, be down 21-0. And there's still an opportunity if we get a turnover right here for Walker to score again before half.
Well, I'll say this. If they are the number 4 team in the state, then we ought to be number 2 or 3 the way we're playing tonight. Here's a rollout, a pass, and a lot of Vikings around. Great coverage there. Wesley Smith there where he's supposed to be. Dustin Hood over in the area. Number 18, Fred Jones there. Everybody looked like exactly where they were supposed to be on that play.
J.J. Callahan blew that up in the back. He was in the – he had the quarterback on the ground. He got the ball off, but J.J. was in his face.
Well, you know how it is once you've been hobbled a little bit and you haven't gotten to play very much, and tonight you get to start and you're healthy. Boy, chomping at the bit, especially when you are a senior like J.J. is, 5'10", 235. You're ready to go. 2nd down 10 as Mcadory forced out of their comfort zone. Pass underthrown, going to be picked off by Wesley Smith. Wesley Smith, and I'll tell you who made that play for him. He needs to go hug the neck of number 57, Joseph McDonald, because Joseph McDonald had the quarterback in a bear hug about the time he was releasing the football, and that is exactly why Wesley Smith looked like the receiver instead of the defender.
He was in his face, and that's good penetration both 2 downs in a row, and I thought he was going to throw a pick that the last down, and then he did throw one this time just right to Wesley Smith.
So Jaquise Kirk with 2 interceptions tonight, Wesley Smith with an interception, Mitchell Spates with a fumble recovery, 4 turnovers in the first half. Hard to overcome that kind of offensive dysfunction. 1st and 10 from the 36. Here comes Lamar Stewart around the left end, refusing to go down until finally forced down at the 30-yard line by a couple of Yellow Jackets. Gain of 6 on the play. We're having our way tonight with the Mcadory Yellow Jackets, Mitchell.
How tired does their defense have to be? We talked about last week how tired Walker's defense is. The Mcadory defense tonight has got to be gassed right now.
Absolutely, because their offense has been on the field very, very little. So now it's a 2nd down and 4, and Stewart again making a good cut there. And as he does, he gets close to the 1st down. Well, you know what? That was a good fake. It faked me off and everybody else except no, it was a fumble, Mitchell. Actually, Stewart fumbled the ball, and Jacob Sparkman recovered it. So a gain of a couple of yards on the fumble recovery by Jacob Sparkman. Thank goodness Jacob was paying attention in the right place at the right time. I didn't see that ball come loose until Jacob got up off the field with the ball in his hands. And I was wondering, how did he have the football? 3rd and 2 now. The Vikings at their own, or at the Mcadory 28-yard line, 3rd down and 2. Here's the snap, the throw out into the flat to Brandon Douglas, and look at Douglas turn on the speed. Douglas not particularly big, but boy is he explosive. I like our speed.
That was kind of caught him up high there. Got him around the neck when he tackled him. I mean, he didn't grab his face mask or anything, but I guess when somebody's that quick and that small, you got to grab whatever you can hold on to.
1st and 10 now from the 19 of Mcadory. Henderson looking, throwing, got a man wide open at C.J. Harris. Hang on to the football, C.J. He does inside the 10. That'll stop the clock. That'll stop the clock with 1 minute to go. It's going to be a 1st and goal from the 8.
Play results in a Walker Vikings 1st down.
Another good throw by Henderson. He has been lights out tonight. On the money, picking the right guys at the right time and delivering the ball on the money. And we just are picking Mcadory completely apart. There's the fake. Henderson's got the ball to the right side. Stiff arms one man into the end zone. Henderson touchdown. Touchdown Henderson. A good ball fake. And you would expect that out of a senior ball handler. An excellent ball fake. And with that ball fake, the defense bites. The defensive end bit on that fake, and that gave Henderson plenty of room. And he stiff-armed the last guy, and Henderson's got a relative from yesteryear from down at Parrish who gave a few stiff arms in his day.
Absolutely. A good friend of ours is Dusty Bruner, and played quarterback as well and was a real good quarterback down there in Parrish.
Here's the kick by Prevost. The kick is up and good. The Vikings add 7 more. 48 seconds to go here in the first half. There's Brandon Douglas. We're going to take a break while Brandon cools off. We'll be back in just a moment with the kick. Set for the kickoff, Matthew Prevost getting plenty of exercise tonight as he's set to kick again after that Viking touchdown. And this is going to be a deep kick all the way back to the 5-yard line goes Mcadory. Good coverage down first, number 34 for the Vikings. Still in pursuit as the Vikings finally hem up the Mcadory runner. 34 for the Vikings is Caleb Kitchens. Caleb is a sophomore, and Caleb doing a really good job of forcing the Mcadory runner out of his pattern and giving the other Vikings an opportunity to finally hem him up. So an excellent job. Well, Mitchell, the delivery is here of our meal, and it couldn't be anybody prettier than Kathleen Highland. But I'm telling you what, I am so glad to see Kathleen tonight for many reasons, but because she has some food for us tonight. So thank you, Kathleen, so much. Kathleen, the daughter of Dr. Highland and Linda Burns, and she is an outstanding young lady. Gina Scruggs handles all the hospitality here for football games, and so I want to thank Gina Scruggs for taking care of us every week here. We hate to go on road games, Mitchell, because on the road they don't feed us like this.
They don't give us anything on the roads. Maybe they could call ahead for us.
Maybe. I'll talk to Gina about that and see what we can get done maybe.
Mcadory is just going to be content right here, Greg, 28-0 going into halftime to see if they can come up with a game plan on
Well, there's
this.
1 second to go, and if they don't snap the ball, this thing is over as far as the half is concerned, and Walker has put an exclamation point on this half as they put up 28 to Mcadory's nothing. What an absolute dominating performance by the Walker Vikings here in the first half. We're going to take a break. You'll see the band, and in just a moment we'll be back with some halftime comments.
Superintendent is Dr. Robert Sparkman, and our principal is Mr. Andy Gambrill. The band is under the direction of Reggie Holbert, Daniel Saunders, and Don Jones. The dance instructor is Jennifer Daniel. The drum majors are Cheyenne Dees and Anna Barrera. Band captain are Alan Brandstedt, Zach Steele, and Joey Humphries. The percussion captain is Drew Andrews. The Walker High School Band this upcoming November will be representing the state of Alabama in the 89th Annual Veterans Day Parade in New York City. We now invite you to take a trip with us through New York as the Walker High School Band presents Adventures in the Big Apple. Drum majors, Cheyenne Dees and Anna Barrera, is your band ready? Now for your halftime entertainment, the Walker High School Marching Band. Opening with Jennifer Hudson's Oscar-winning song, Love You I Do from Dreamgirls. We then feature our percussion section in an exciting arrangement of Stomp. We leave Broadway tonight with a salute to Hairspray's You Can't Stop the Beat. We leave you tonight with a tribute to those who lost their lives on September 11, 2001, and to those who continue to serve our country today. These are the days that America will never forget, the ones who have fallen, men and women last seen doing their duty, whose names we will honor forever. The war goes on. The resolve of our nation is still being tested. And in the face of danger, we are showing our character. Even in years after the attack on our country, Americans remain strong and resolute, patient in a just cause, and confident in the fortitude of liberty. We,
and that's when I'm going to the fair. That's when I'm going to go there too. Tonight? No, tomorrow. Tomorrow night. Yeah, that's when I'm going to. I have a football.
We're here at halftime. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman. And Mitchell, kind of surprised, I suppose, considering the fact that Mcadory put up 82 points in this half, no points, and we put up 28.
Yeah, Greg, I don't think Mcadory expected, and I sure don't think our crowd expected. I didn't expect it. I know I said 0 at the beginning of the game, but I don't know that I believed we could do it. But it's 28-0. Defense is swarming, playing well. Jared Henderson coming in here, playing lights out. Also, running games on. Everything about the game tonight is going the Vikings' way, and I'm hoping we'll just continue to the second half and we'll just build on this momentum.
We've cut out the major distance penalties tonight. We had only 1 turnover. We got 4 takeaways, so we're ahead in that department. And as you said, Jared Henderson on the field tonight, providing senior leadership, engineering those 4 scoring drives, everything going our way tonight. We hope that that continues here in the second half. We'll be back in just a moment with the kickoff. We're set here for the kick, getting ready for the second half. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman. Prevost will be kicking from the 35. Instead of the 40, we got a delay of game to start this second half. And there's the pooch kick, high, angling toward the right sideline, return right. And good pursuit by the Vikings. The tackle being made by number 14, Wesley Smith. So a good start to the second half, Mitchell. A good kick and good kick coverage. One thing about our special teams tonight, 1 miscue on the blocked field goal. Other than that, our special teams have been solid.
Got great kick coverage, Greg. Like you said, they've just been playing well. Getting down there, getting to the ball, swarming to the ball.
Well, let's see if Mcadory has an answer for what happened in the first half. We hope not, but I'm sure that they made some adjustments at least. Here's the first give, and Shifty back picking his way and manages about 6 yards.
Yeah, Greg, there's flags down there, too.
Fred Jones tied up with one of the Mcadory players, and that's going to result in a couple of flags. We've seen Fred around those kinds of plays before. Personal foul against Walker. Personal foul against Mcadory. They'll offset. So Fred tied up with one of the Mcadory players. And that offsetting penalty always kind of disturbs me a little bit. What's the point?
Yeah.
Just grab both of them and say, hey, quit doing that. And forget about saying there's a personal foul on both sides and it offsets. It was after the play was dead, so there was a gain of 7 on the play. 2nd down and 3 for Mcadory. The ball is at their own 38-yard line. As I said, Fred is generally around something that's going on, and he is a fiery competitor, and that's why you'll see that sometimes in his neighborhood. This handoff on the inside, and it's a 1st down, so on Mcadory's first offensive series, content to run the ball, and now there's a flag coming in after that play. That's going to be a dead ball penalty, and it looks to be maybe an unsportsmanlike. Would be my guess. One of the Mcadory players may have said something, and so that's going to be an unsportsmanlike. Personal foul against Mcadory. Personal against Walker. Okay, so never mind. I didn't see anything of that sort. Of course, I didn't have to. But another offsetting personal foul penalty. It's going to be a 1st down because the run was good enough for the 1st down. So the chains will move, and Mcadory will have the first down of the second half.
I guess there was any retaliation by the Vikings there. They drew the other side of the personal foul there, I guess.
It's been a long time since I've seen those back-to-back offsetting personal foul penalties. Maybe I never have. So here's the throw across the middle, the hot route. Jaquise Kirk on the coverage, but it's a 1st down. The ball moving from the 46 down inside the Viking 40 to the 39. So Mcadory coming out with a little bit of spark here in the second half, Mitchell.
It's more fire than they had the entire first half, Greg. So they definitely talked some things over at halftime, and the coach, I guess, told him what he wanted to see, but to throw a 28-0 deficit like that to come back in the second half, they're going to need every minute they can get.
Well, this is one of those things where the Walker coaches, I'm sure, emphasize the fact that we have a half of football to play. Here's a throw out into the right flat, and great coverage there by J.J. Callahan. But the Mcadory back manages to slip past a couple of tacklers, and finally he's finished off by Dustin Hood. Mitchell Spates there as well. So a combination tackle by those two defensive leaders for no gain, but give credit there to J.J. Callahan.
Yeah, he was where he needed to be to make the play. And that back's lucky to even get back to the line of scrimmage, Greg. He was, 5, 6, 7 yards deep when he started trying to make it back.
He did a great job to even catch the football the way that pass was thrown. Mcadory, as you see, trailing by 28. They've got a big hill to climb here in the second half, and the Walker defense planning to make that difficult. Here's the give inside. Very little room there, a gain of about 4 to the 35-yard line. J.J. Callahan there on that tackle. Wesley Smith. Well, Smith and Freeman combining to make that tackle. Saw the 35, and I thought it was a 36. So Josh Freeman and Wesley Smith forcing a 3rd down and 6 from the Viking 35-yard line. I know, Mitchell, that the defense would love to pitch a shutout.
Absolutely. I mean, the way they played in the first half, it looked like I didn't think Mcadory could even get this far down the field. But, we have stepped up a while ago and got a pick when we needed it. So
here's a give off the right side, and big room there as we got whipped along the line that time. And that's a big run for Mcadory. Coming into the game, Mitchell, they have 2 backs that a lot of D1 schools are looking at. And as we were talking to Coach Chambers before the game, one of the Mcadory coaches, he said that their best back was out tonight with a shoulder injury, so they are hampered a little bit. But you saw there the quickness of their other back that is potentially college-bound. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 25. Mcadory on the move. here in the third quarter, early in the third quarter. There's a pass toward the end zone. It's underthrown a little bit, but it's caught as the receiver turns and runs backwards, and Jaquise never able to turn his head and see the ball and make a play on the ball. So he never, nope, that's not Jaquise, that's Dexter Parham. And Dexter gets up a bit gimpy, may have fallen in wrong on that ankle. Dexter never able, Mitchell, to get his head turned, and usually you're taught as a defensive back to run with the receiver, and when you see him looking for the ball, you turn and look for the ball also.
Yeah, he just never, like you said, never got in position where he could turn and find the ball and go up and get it.
There's the extra point try, and it is good. So a quick score, 9:04 to go in the third quarter. Mcadory coming out to fight the second half. They put 7 on the board. Vikings lead 28-7. We'll be back in just a moment with the Mcadory kick. Set for the kick. Mcadory looking to kick it away to the Vikings after scoring the first 7 points of this second half to cut the lead to 21. Now time for the Viking offense to do what they did the whole first half, and that is to put points on the board. Here's Fred Jones taking the ball at his 8. Middle return, Jones with room. Gang tackled at about the 35 or 36-yard line. So, Mitchell, we look like a well-oiled machine offensively in the first half. Let's see if the offense can pick back up where they left off.
Yeah, I hope they can, and I'm sure they're going to try to keep the ball on the ground a lot and keep the clock moving. That was a good return, Greg, by Jones on that, and stayed down a little while. But
Jones wearing a knee brace on that right knee of his. Last year he had a season-ending injury to his knee, and so wearing that brace this year and getting up a little slowly, we certainly don't want to see that. Jones is a mainstay at linebacker, and also he is Mr. Touchdown on offense. Trainer Bob White will take a look at him over on the sideline, and hopefully he is okay. So here we go, first down and 10 for the Vikings, the first offensive series of the second half. Man in motion, C.J. Harris. Here's the give to Burt Bowers. Burt's got room on the left side, has a gain of 5 out to the 41. So a good job there by Bowers to get a good gain on first down, and that is indeed what we did the first half. You know, Mitchell, we came out and established a very solid running game, and that just gave us all sorts of room to pass. And as you mentioned earlier, Henderson had a big first half.
Absolutely, 167 yards passing, Greg, and he had he had 2 touchdowns rushing, Greg, with another 25 yards on the ground, and like I said, he only had 1 incompletion, and that was the one that went a little over the head of Brandon Douglas.
Here's the give to Bowers, and Bowers will be close to the first down. The spot of the ball is going to be just across the 46, and that's where the yard marker is. So it'll be up to the referee to decide whether to go ahead and give it to the Vikings. We're going to have the first measurement tonight, I think. No, the second measurement. You remember earlier there was a measure on a 4th down for Mcadory, which they did not make. And this one's too close to call right now, Mitchell. I'm thinking we're going to be a little bit short. I think we needed to get the ball completely across the hash, and we didn't, and so it looks like we're going to be a little bit short. And we're not by the length of a football. That's why they bring the chains out and measure it, because it's tough to tell with the naked eye. First and 10, 2 runs and a first down, so we're establishing that we are going to control the ball in the second half too. You know, Mitchell, you have a half like that, and the team could have a tendency to relax at halftime and come out flat, but you got to take the attitude that it's nothing going into the second half.
Yeah, and come out and play like you're behind.
So here we go on a first down and 10 play at the 46. There's the give to Bowers, and Burt this time running for his life, and he's hit by 3 or 4 Yellow Jackets, and you might say stung pretty good for a yard loss at the 45-yard line. So the defensive line of Mcadory that time rising to the occasion and stopping Bowers for a loss on the play. Into the game comes Stewart. Wouldn't mind seeing that hook and lateral again, quite frankly.
It worked so well the first time, Greg. I'm with you on that.
We've got single coverage out on the left side. And, boy, the field is wide open over on that side. They've got a single safety. He'd never get over there. Sparkman in motion to the left. Second down and 11, and here's Henderson looking to throw. He's under a heavy rush, and Henderson is going down, and in a big way. They just kept coming, Mitchell. One after the other. Henderson able to get away from the first 2 or 3 guys that broke through, but boy, he couldn't get away from that last guy running for his life.
Yeah, he done a fine job getting away from number 1 and number 2, but like you said, when they just keep coming like that, every time you turn around, one's in your face. Eventually you're going to go down.
A loss of 12 on the play makes it a 3rd down and 23. The ball's now at the 33-yard line. So we'll see here whether Henderson will air that thing out big time or not. 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Vikings leading 28-7. Henderson with 5 on the play clock now. 4, 3, and the snap is off. Henderson throwing. C.J. Harris looking for the ball. Catches the ball over the defender. C.J. Harris out jumping the defender for the football. What an outstanding catch. And that was another case where the defender didn't really know the ball was coming. C.J. did, and he just kind of reached right over the defender's head and grabbed the football for maybe the best catch of the season so far.
Absolutely. And it's good to see C.J. going up and going after the ball, Greg, like that.
Absolutely. Coming back to the ball a little bit there. And we're going to have a heat timeout with 5:49 to go in the 3rd quarter. So 5:49 to go. Big play there by the Vikings to keep the drive alive. We'll be back in just a moment with that drive. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman with your Walker Viking TV 55 game of the week. Walker ahead 28-7, looking to add to that lead as they are on their first drive of the second half. First down and 10, the ball is at the 38 of the Mcadory Yellow Jackets. Henderson will fake the give, and run around the right end. Henderson sidesteps a tackler and then stiff arms another as he goes out of bounds and will be marked out of bounds, and Henderson limping a little bit. I will assure you he'll shake that off because he doesn't want to come out of the game, but he may have to the way it's looking. And indeed, Max Young being called on and Henderson coming out of the game fell kind of awkwardly along the sideline, Mitchell. And, boy, we do not want to see that after the night that Henderson has had. So here's Max, the 10th grader, who engineered the first 2 games for the Vikings into the game here, and will give to Fred Jones, who's strung out along the line of scrimmage. One thing about it, Mitchell, Fred is small. So if you can get Fred moving laterally along the line of scrimmage and string him out a little bit, hard for Fred to do much. He's got to have that first couple of steps to get through the line.
Yeah, and they done a good job that time preventing him from getting through the line.
They're working on Max along the sideline after no gain on that play by Jones. Working on Jared Henderson, looking at his ankle. And now Max looking to the sideline on the 2nd down and 10 play. The ball's at the 27-yard line as the Vikings are driving. Jared Henderson responsible for all 4 first-half touchdowns in some way, at least the quarterback of those touchdowns on those drives. This time the give to Lamar Stewart around the right end. And Lamar able to gain about 4 on the play. The ball spotted, I can't tell at the moment. Well, we'll give him 5 to the 23. Well, better give him 4 on that. It looks more like a 3rd and 6 on the play. Ball between the 24 and the 23-yard line for a 3rd down and 6. Henderson still being worked on as they tape that ankle, his left ankle. Here's Max to throw. Throwing across the middle, and it's caught by Lamar Stewart, but the gain is going to be short of the first down. So decision time for Coach Holliday, and no hesitation. The play is being called. Gain of a couple of yards inside the 22. So 4th down and 4 now for the Vikings, and they will indeed go. 3:43 to go in the 3rd quarter. Young gets the snap, looks, throws, got a man wide open. Oh, caught, it's overthrown, picked off in the end zone. Here comes the run back for Mcadory. A lot of room for the Mcadory defender as he runs and is knocked down in midfield by Cody Waldrop, I believe, the center. So Cody doing a good job getting back into the thick of things there to knock down the receiver. Well, not the receiver, but the defender who had picked off the pass. So that pass a bit overthrown and right into the hands of a Mcadory defender. And Mitchell, you get just a little bit of sense of a change in momentum here.
Everything's swapping, Greg. I mean, that, like I said, with the touchdown scoring and the interception now, getting it almost midfield and the flop the field position now.
Nothing doing this time for the defense, though, as Josh Freeman is out there to make sure that there's a minimal gain, a gain of 2 yards on that first carry. We are under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Mcadory trailing by 21, so the Vikings have a big cushion. But, boy, we don't want to allow Mcadory to get back in the game here with a big play. Should Mcadory score before this quarter is over, then, of course, anything could happen. So it's a 2nd down and 8 play. Long throw, and the Mcadory receiver pushes off and catches the ball. Did you see that, Mitchell? He stiff-armed Jaquise Kirk to give himself enough room to catch the ball, which he did do, and no signal from the referee.
Yeah, he cleared it. He made sure he was the only one going up to get it.
It looked like a player underneath the basketball goal screening out for a rebound. It stands. It's a big play down to the 25 of the Vikings, where it's 1st and 10 for Mcadory. There's a fumble. Bobby Tucker. Is it Bobby Tucker? It's Joseph McDonald. Joseph McDonald coming up with the ball, and there's a backbreaker for you if you're Mcadory.
Yeah, when you had everything going your way, and now I'd like to see the momentum come back to the Vikings here. I believe I seen Jared run to the huddle on the sideline. He may be going back in the game, Greg.
Well, I tell you what, that play there, the quarterback just flat out dropped the ball. No real reason for that fumble. He just flat out dropped it. And Joseph, being very opportunistic, gets right on top of the football. And indeed, onto the field comes Jared Henderson, gotten retaped, and he's ready to go now. 1st and 10 Vikings from their own 30 after the 5th turnover of the night. So the Vikings with 5 takeaways versus 2 giveaways. Here comes Stewart, and Stewart being strung out, and boy, is he ever pummeled at about the 28-yard line. Wow, was he hit hard, and Lamar not getting up, and I understand why not. He was hit low, he was hit high, treated very rudely at about the 28 or 29-yard line, and there's a flag behind the play, and that usually means holding.
You know what kind of shot that looks like he took, Greg?
Yeah, I do. So flag behind the play, holding indeed is the call. Anytime the flag is thrown along the line of scrimmage in that position, it's going to be holding. So the Vikings going to be penalized 10 more yards from the spot of the foul. So it's going to be 1st and very long. It's going to be 1st and about 25 after this mark-off. The ball will now be at the 16-yard line. It was at the 31. So it's a 1st and 25 for the Vikings. And it's in this position, Mitchell, that we want to be careful, not try to do too much and get ourselves into trouble, because we can always punt out of this situation and make Mcadory go the length of the field.
Yes, we definitely don't want them to catch the momentum back right here by making a mistake.
Here's the draw, and that is to Fred Jones, and Fred doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage even. So a loss on the play, back to the 15. So it's going to be a 2nd down now and 26. Well, we thought maybe the way things were going, if we kept the lead run out and sort of took command in the second half, we might see a lot of younger guys, but no such thing at this point.
No, Mcadory, like you said, they decided they're going to play in the second half, and even though they had the turnover, it didn't deter them any right here, Greg. Their defense is out there playing.
So Jared Henderson facing a 2nd down and 26, and there's the give to Jones up the middle. And it looks like we may be content to run as much clock out here as we can. Jones
on that carry gets a couple of yards. Let's see where the spot is at the 19, so a gain of 4. It's going to be 3rd down and still very long. 3rd down and 22 still for the Vikings. 1 minute to go in the third quarter. The Vikings with a 21-point cushion. All of that arrived at in the first half as they scored 28. The only points in the second half have come from Mcadory. 10 seconds on the play clock. Henderson calling his count. There's the snap. Henderson back to pass. Got good protection. Throwing it over the middle and a pretty good pass, but good coverage. C.J. Harris double covered and no way to catch that pass. So an incomplete will stop the clock with 44 seconds to go in the third quarter. Vikings first punt of the night. Christian Matthews' first opportunity tonight, Mitchell.
Yeah, like you said, we didn't give them any opportunities in the first half to punt. They were scoring every time they got the ball. So hopefully he can get a good punt off and, like I said, swap the field position because at Mcadory he's setting up at his own 45 to return the ball.
We have a stoppage in play. Timeout Vikings, timeout Walker. 44 seconds to go. We'll take a timeout. With that timeout, we'll be back in just a moment with the Viking punt. We're all set for the punt. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman. 44 seconds to go in the third quarter. Christian Matthews awaiting the snap. A good snap it is, and Matthews runs it off, kicks it end over end. Low kick, hits at the 45-yard line, takes a great roll to the 30. And Christian has done a good job this year, Mitchell, of kicking that thing low and giving it a good chance to bounce and roll. And so the line of scrimmage at that point was the 19, is that correct?
Yeah.
And so it's all the way down to the 30. So that's 31 plus 20. That's a 51-yard punt by Christian Matthews.
Excellent job. Like I said, the Mcadory return man had set up at his own 45, expecting, I'm sure, a good return there. And good kick by Matthews prevented that and kind of kept Mcadory from having good field position. Now
forcing Mcadory to go 70 yards. Had the receiver caught the ball, it would have been at the 45. Back to pass, Mcadory quarterback throws it in the flat, and nowhere to go over there as Dustin Hood will not let go. Bobby Tucker out there as well. Joseph McDonald on the hunt. And Mitchell, tonight, Joseph McDonald is having an outstanding game. He's playing like a senior who realizes that this is his senior year and he wants to lead by example, and boy, is he ever doing that.
Yeah, Greg, they just, like you said on that, they swarmed to the ball. That was an 8-yard loss for Mcadory right there.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter of play. The Vikings maintaining a 28-7 lead. We'll see how it all shakes out in the fourth quarter. We'll be back here in just a moment. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman for this fourth quarter of action. Viking football on TV 55. Man in motion. The give will be faked. There's a man open across the middle. The pass is thrown behind the receiver. It's picked off by number 30 for the Vikings. That is Jamarcus Carey. So Jamarcus has a pick tonight. 4 interceptions by the Vikings. 2 big fumble recoveries. Mcadory, its own worst enemy tonight, as really, Mitchell, only one of those picks has been what you would call a real difficult interception. The others have been fairly easy because the ball's been thrown up in the air, and they were just able really to run. Our defenders were able to run under the ball and make an easy interception. Taking nothing away from the defense, you got to be in position to do that, and our guys have been in position, but the way the balls have been thrown, it's given us a great opportunity to pick those passes off.
He's throwing them up for grabs, it seems like, and our guys are there to grab them, though. So, like you said, that's nothing from them.
And here is Stewart looking for running room and manages about 2 yards to the 40 on a first down play from the 42. So a second down and 8 for Stewart. Well, let's give him 3. It's almost to the 39, so 3 yards there by Stewart. 2nd down and 7. Henderson back out on the field, and it's very easy now to see that white tape on Henderson's left ankle. And I don't know if he's had any problem previous to tonight, but we hope that ankle is not a serious thing, Mitchell, that will have a lot of swelling and that type of thing and keep him from being 100%.
Yeah, maybe not.
Here's Stewart looking for room around the right end, runs into a swarm of tacklers, and he is mauled at the 37-yard line, so a gain of 2, 3rd down and 5 for the Vikings. And we'll certainly be content to take all the rushing first downs we can get. It's okay if it takes us 2 or 3 downs to get it because we don't mind being ahead by 21.
Yeah, great. As long as the clock's ticking right now, Greg, the Vikings are in good shape. They want to just keep the time ticking off the clock. I mean, they're up by 21, so I'm sure that's they're going to go in there here.
Oh, that's the first pass this year that Brandon Douglas has missed. Mr. Sure Hands, and he's not able to reel that one in. It was a difficult catch. The pass was a little bit high, but certainly within reach, and Brandon just not able to look it in. It's one of those things where you have to stretch out too much. You're thinking, oh, boy.
I'm laid out. I'm fixing to get hit. And he, like you said, that's the first one he's missed. I mean, he's been overthrown a couple times, but if it gets within his hands, he's usually bringing it down.
Matthews to kick. And Christian will run it off to the right side and kick another low liner that's going to bounce and it's hopefully down inside the – oh, guys, don't let it carry into the end zone. Oh, we got to bat that ball down. That'll be some special teams discussion there as we allow the momentum of the ball to take us into the end zone instead of knocking it down and knocking it backwards. Good hustle, guys, but that's a play that we've got to stop down inside the 5 there.
Yeah, because we had 4 guys in the area there, Greg. You'd like to see us down that.
Well, I know the coaches are disappointed about that because they would like nothing more than to have pinned the Mcadory Yellow Jackets inside the 5. Still, they have to go 80 yards with 10 minutes and 15 seconds to go in this game. And as you can see, they trail by 21. 1st and 10 from the 20, man in motion. And look at Dustin Hood coming up there again. I'm just telling you, we have out-coached them. Let's hand it to our coaching staff. Coach Holliday and the staff have just done a marvelous job of deciding how to defend this Mcadory offense that was so explosive the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, they've done an outstanding job, and to know to stunt your Dustin Hood on so many plays, you know what you're looking for when they line up, and he's done a fantastic job.
Dustin's done a lot of hitting tonight. He might not have made a lot of tackles, but he has enabled other people to make tackles. There's another example. Look at Dustin creating a problem over there. And so those guys that are getting all the tackles tonight need to come over to Dustin and say, buddy, thanks so much for helping me pad my stats tonight. Because of your hustle and your effort, I've been able to make tackle after tackle after tackle.
Yeah, they owe him a dinner.
There's a loss on the play of a yard and a half. So, well, actually a little bit of a minimal gain there of a yard and a half. So 3rd down now and 8 to go, with the ball at the 22-yard line. Mcadory needing here the 1st down. Quarterback keeper Josh Freeman over there diving at the feet. And out of bounds along the sideline is the Mcadory quarterback. Stepped out before the yard marker.
Short.
That was a hustle play. He had the 1st down if not for the hustle of Josh Freeman.
Yeah, he got over there and interrupted the play. Of course, he could see the stick, so I expect him to dive or to get it. But I'm sure. I mean, like I said, this is definitely them. They're gonna have to go for it on 4th down now. Down 21 points here with 8:45 left in the 4th quarter.
No question about it. Mcadory must go here. 4th and 2. It'll be the goal line type defense again as they'll get low and try not to give up any penetration. Man in motion, and Hood this time a little bit too aggressive, and you can't blame him. Absolutely, you cannot blame Dustin Hood because He has, for 3.5 quarters, read that absolutely perfectly, Mitchell. Absolutely perfectly. And this time, just slightly off on his timing. And I know the defensive coaches are not happy about that, but my goodness, how can you fault Dustin with the kind of game that he's played tonight? And really, you look at it this way, he has sacrificed his body the entire night to enable other people to make plays.
Yeah, and it's worked so well. So you got to be unhappy that he gave a first down on a 4th and 2 play. But the way he's played, you can't be upset with that.
Here comes the toss in the air, and it's going to be picked off by Jamarcus Carey. He gets another pick as that ball is underthrown again, and Jamarcus is able to run underneath it and wrestle it away from the Mcadory receiver. So all that about Dustin and being offsides, much ado about nothing as the defense comes up with another pick.
And that's better than a punt for us anyway. The turnover on downs right there would have been, that's not that for much worse. So, maybe Dustin's off the hook because, like you said, what he's done tonight, he deserves to be off the hook.
Absolutely. Can't say enough tonight about his effort because you might as well say he's been the bowling ball on defense tonight, trying to crash down the pins of those offensive linemen as they come out to block. It's a 1st down and 10. Here's the give to Stewart up the middle. Nothing doing for Stewart. So it's gotten a lot tougher between the tackles this second half, Mitchell.
Yeah, they're tightening up in the middle and putting them in the box there.
And let me correct myself. That was Bowers. So a gain of 1 by Bowers up the middle to the 49-yard line where it will be 2nd down and 9. Clock running with 8:13 to go.
Mcadory's coaches must have said, hey, they're not going to run up in between the tackles in the second half. So, because they're making an effort for that.
So it's a 2nd down and 9 for Henderson, still in the game. His first game, as we mentioned, as a varsity athlete here at Walker. Oh, wow. Wow, and did Burt ever do a good job to hang on to that football? It's a loss of 2. And so that's the one when you run back over to the quarterback and you say, hey, listen, if you see that defender coming up there, don't throw that one to me.
Yeah, don't do that again.
Fake that one.
Check that off.
Read that, and let's do a pump and go on that. But please, read that guy coming up and don't throw that one to me anymore. Burt does a good job to hang on to that, but it does bring up a 3rd down and 11 from our own 49 now. Henderson will be looking to throw again. Back to pass, big rush. Here's the screen, and Lamar Stewart tripped over someone's feet, probably an offensive lineman. He stepped over somebody's foot, fell down, and so the pass falls incomplete. And we're just a little bit out of sync ever since the injury to Jared Henderson. We just haven't quite been in sync anymore, Mitchell.
Yeah, and if that's completed right there, Greg, we got 3 linemen in front of Stewart right there and only 1 defender over there, so that could have been big.
Here's the kick, and a dandy kick by Matthews that goes to the 12 or 13. It's fumbled down there on the hit. C.J. Harris, and who came up with the ball? Is that Josh Freeman?
35, yeah, Josh Freeman.
So C.J. Harris with the big hit dislodges the football. And now Josh Freeman comes up with the fumble. So the 7th turnover of the night for Mcadory. 7. You're not going to win football games if you turn the ball over 7 times.
Actually, Greg, that is the 3rd fumble. That's 8.
Is that the 8th?
5
That's right. I forgot about the interception here, the 5 interceptions. Yes, that's indeed 8. You'll go sometimes 10 games in a season and you may not get 8 takeaways. We've got 8 tonight.
What does this do for the giveaway takeaway ratio for the Vikings right here?
Wow, it's outstanding. And look at Jones making a good cut. There's going to be a hold. It's coming back. Never mind. So a holding penalty will move that backwards 10 yards from the spot. Jones making a valiant effort there, but somebody had a whole lot of jersey. And it is a holding call against the Vikings. And this is the thing that slowed down our momentum a moment ago, Mitchell. We had a good run and a holding call that backed us way back. So looks like some new guys going into the game. Got an injury on the field.
Yeah, Mcadory's got
a Mcadory player down. Working on his left leg.
That penalty assessed from the 13-yard line.
We don't like to see that regardless of who it is.
Looks like he's in some pain,
First
Greg.
down and 22 from the 23.
Give our guys a break there. Maybe the offense now can get in rhythm here if they get a chance to talk it over during this injury.
You'd think that the referees here might go ahead and signal for the heat timeout. They haven't yet. And so the Mcadory player up and heavily favoring his left leg. But he is walking off under his own power, and we're glad to see that. The Walker coaching staff, you see them there along the sideline. And the team huddled up now after the 10-yard penalty. So Fred Jones on a run, and there's a 10-yard penalty that moves the ball back to the 23, where it will be first down and 22. First and 22 from the 23-yard line. Henderson waiting to snap. The give up the middle to Bowers, and Burt finding some good room there. Gets inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. So a gain of 9 on that play for Burt.
Just about got every bit of the penalty yard back, Greg, there, so got close anyway.
The thing I like about Burt is once you hand him the ball, he's generally headed north to south, in this case south, and I like that. He puts his nose in there and gets headed toward the end zone.
Greg, just the way of the senior, like you said, the way Jared Henderson's played tonight is just impressed me.
Well, the Yellow Jackets take a timeout, so with that timeout, we also will take a timeout. Walker leads 28-7, threatening to score. We'll be back. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman. Jared Henderson set for the second down play. 2nd and 13. The ball is at the 14-yard line. Man in motion is Stewart, and the give will be to Stewart. Got a lot of blockers in front of him. Run, Lamar. Get on out there. Lamar hesitating a little bit. I know he was waiting on his guys to go ahead and set a block, but I think if Lamar had sprung for the corner there, that he might have gotten quite a bit more yardage. Picks up about 4 to the 9-yard line, so it's going to be third down now from the 9. Need to get to the 2 for the first down, so 3rd and 7 as we need the 2-yard line for the first down. 5:30 to go here in the fourth quarter, and barring some major catastrophe, there's a legal procedure. Our left guard moved, so there's a procedure call that's going to bring the ball back 5 yards. We got a little antsy on that play. Barring a major meltdown, Mitchell, this is going to be a win for the Vikings, and a big win considering the fact that Mcadory comes in here ranked number 4 and with an explosive offense.
And has been in total lockdown. I mean, you know, they scored in the second half, but in total lockdown in the first half, and did not play anything like the number 4 team in the first half. Walker had a game plan and implemented it well in the first half.
We have completely throttled the Mcadory Yellow Jackets tonight. And now we're going to have the heat timeout with 5:21 to go. So with the heat timeout, we will also take a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment with more fourth quarter action.
Let the bodies hit the
Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker, Mitchell Pittman, the TV55 crew with Walker Viking football. 3rd down and 13 from the 14. There's the give to Bowers, and look at him. That's exactly what I'm talking about, how he runs north to south. And there's a fumble as Mcadory is going to run this thing back for a touchdown as Bowers fumbled the ball. Surely he was down on the ground when the ball came loose. No signal for that. Touchdown Mcadory on about a 96-yard return. And boy, I would sure like to see that again because Bowers went down. He was clearly down. And then all of a sudden the ball is on the ground and a Mcadory player picks it up and takes off running. And the whistle did not blow. And so the ball is live, but I sure would like to know whether or not that ball came loose after Burt hit the ground.
I would too, Greg, because, I mean, like you said, it looked like he was down, and I kept looking for the Jumbotron to see the replay on it. I don't see how that was a fumble, and I know he is adamant. He was adamant when he come off that he didn't fumble that ball.
Certainly. Well, an unusual play results in 6 for Mcadory and possibly 7 as they will attempt the extra point. And it is good, so they've cut the lead in half with 4 minutes and 54 seconds to go. And we could almost guess that an onside kick will be upcoming here. So we'll take a break. We'll be back in just a moment with the kick. Well, what was a very comfortable margin, now there's a little tension in the air as Mcadory on that long fumble recovery and run back of 96 yards has made this a bit more interesting. 4:54 to go, and I said a moment ago, barring a major meltdown, the Vikings had this wrapped up, and that's a bit of a meltdown there. Although, as Burt Bowers came off the field, he was arguing vehemently that he was down and that he did not fumble that ball. And I kind of tend to agree with him. So we're set now for the onside kick, and we've got our sure-handed guys there ready to get this onside kick. And there it is, and we have covered it. Oh, come on, throw the flag as a guy dove in head first and hit Jaquise Kirk. Jaquise did a good job there. Mitchell, easily, that was I mean, from our vantage point, if you dive in head first at any time, that's spearing.
Yeah, and in high school football, in college too. Once you return, covered, it's over. So
the Vikings move out, take that onside kick in Mcadory territory. A very poor onside kick, I might add. Didn't have a lot of life in the ball. Again, the Viking cheerleaders cheering on their Vikings. One of those cheers that has been around for years and years. Let's go Vikings. And here's Stewart moving ahead with the pile, has about 10 on the carry. And this is the point of the game where the offensive coaches tell the backs, 2 hands on the football, contact, go down, get down on the ground. Let's not have a wrestling match for the football. A gain of 11, and Stewart has a first down to the 38-yard line. 4 minutes and 39 seconds, and the clock will run as soon as the chains are moved. And I'm sure that Henderson has been given strict orders to let the play clock run down. 4:36 to go in the play clock with 20 seconds, so be right at 4 minutes when this ball is snapped. The Vikings 38 yards away from a score. Mitchell, they haven't put points on the board in the second half, though.
No, and have not managed to get in the end zone. And like I said, was knocking on the door that time, and then for whatever reason, I'm anxious to see the replay on that fumble.
There's Burt, and he did have both hands on the football. Nobody was getting that football from him. I don't think even his mother could have taken that away from him. And moms are pretty good at getting stuff away from their kids, you know.
Oh, yeah.
A gain of 4, second down and 6 from the 34-yard line for the Vikings. So Jared Henderson in the game. In the backfield with him, Lamar Stewart. Henderson's left ankle heavily taped, as you can see. See that white tape shining. And there is Lamar Stewart struggling ahead for a yard gain. We'll bring up a third down and about 5. So 3rd and 5, and there will be under 3 minutes after this play. So the Vikings here just trying to maintain possession. If we can eke out a couple more first downs, Mitchell, then this thing will indeed be over.
Yeah, just keep they couldn't stop it enough. If, like I said, they're still down 2 scores, and like you said, the Vikings are keeping the clock ticking.
Last week, Mitchell, we played the number 3 team in the state toe-to-toe, and this week we have hit the number 4 team in the state in the mouth. So looking good for the Vikings this year, quite honestly. And there is Stewart upended after a yard gain. 4th down, and we'll go on 4th down, no question about that. The ball's at the 32. Mcadory probably going to spend a timeout. Is Mcadory going to spend a timeout here? Probably so. Timeout, Mcadory to stop the clock with 2:32 to go. With that timeout, we'll also take a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment with the 4th down play.
Y'all know who run this here, baby. Yeah. Put them A's up.
Back here to Cairo Gambrell Field late in the 4th quarter, 2 minutes and 32 seconds to go. Vikings lead by 14. They face a 4th down and 3 from the 32 of Mcadory. 2 backs in the backfield, Stewart and Bowers. Henderson the quarterback, as he has been for most of the game, except for the opening of the game. Here's a little throw out into the left, and Brandon Douglas is going to run into the end zone for a touchdown. That's a good play call, Mitchell.
Yeah.
That is an excellent play call.
Just what they needed, Greg. I mean, they were, I'm sure, expecting him on the ground. Like you said, a good play call. I was thinking he might throw a quick slant up top to C.J. Harris, but that was an excellent play call, like you said.
Well, Brandon Douglas, the sure-handed receiver, a moment ago had an opportunity, let a pass get through his hands, but no mistaking that one, and he is as explosive on his first 2 steps as any player we've got. Good job by Jared Henderson to get the ball to Brandon Douglas for that score, and in the aftermath of all that, a Mcadory player down, but he is up now and coming off the field under his own power, and again, glad to see that. So no serious injuries tonight on either side as far as we can tell, and we're very, very thankful for that. Vikings adding 6 and soon to be 7 if Matthew Prevost can keep it perfect for the night. So far he's 4 for 4 on extra points, looking to add his 5th tonight. As we have said previously, Matthew following in the steps of his older brother Mark, who was an outstanding kicker here at Walker. Jordan Pridemore holding tonight instead of Dustin Hood. Dustin probably too beaten up to come out there and hold the football. There's the snap, the hold, the kick. All of that is good. So with 2:24 to go, the Vikings extend their lead back to 21, 35-14. We'll take a break. Back to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman for the final 2:24 of this game, and it's kind of all academic now that Walker drove hopefully what is the final nail in the Mcadory coffin. Jordan Pridemore, number 47, set to kick, and he does so. It's a short kick that goes to the 32-yard line, covered there by the Vikings. In on that tackle, number 32, Genesis McWhirter. Number 13, Guy Abel. Number 31 on that tackle as well. And let's see if we have a 31 somewhere. 31 is Michael Tedford. So good coverage there by some young Vikings. And most of the first-team defense still out there, Mitchell, for this final drive. Mitchell Spate still in the game. Joe Swanigan out there. Bobby Tucker. I see John Gates out there. 1st and 10. 2:16 to go. Mcadory trailing by 21. Back to pass. This is dangerous for them as they have thrown 5 interceptions. I'm not sure that if I was the Mcadory coach, I would have any confidence in throwing the ball anymore tonight.
No, and he's throwing it over there on the carry side. He's already got 2 picks. You go to Kirk, he's got 2 picks. I mean, where can he throw the ball? Wesley Smith's got a pick. So it makes it difficult to throw the ball, like you said, to air it up. You can't believe you're going to get make any progress in the air.
Mitchell Spates out of the game now, and into the game Blake Meacham. And the defense stringing this run out. And if I'm the Mcadory coaches, I am certainly going to run the ball and try to get this clock wound down and get out of here and go home and lick my wounds. Over helping out on that play, number 99, Tyrone Dickerson. Tyrone is senior, 5'5", 195. Mitchell next week will make a trip back to Hayden, the scene of one of the most vicious hits I think I've seen ever at any level of football.
It was a phenomenal hit, Greg. I mean, it's hard to believe that somebody with the size on the high school level could deliver the hit that was put on that the Hayden man last year.
We got a personal foul against Walker and a personal foul against Mcadory. That's our 3rd one of the night. Our 3rd offsetting personal foul penalty of the night. And if this is Fred, and I don't know that it was, but Fred's coming out of the game, and of course he being a starter would need to come out of the game, and let's see what's the discussion is going to take place. 151 needing to go back on the clock, and maybe they're just getting those starters out of there. Have no idea who is involved in that personal foul, but there's some younger players getting in the game now, rightfully so. Here on defensive end, Mitchell on this end, number 94.
Will Register.
Will Register in the game. 44 at linebacker now.
44 is going to be Brandon Robinson, sophomore, 5'6", 178.
Got Rex Allred in there at linebacker as well. Still got the same defensive backfield in the game. 3rd down and 4 for Mcadory with 1:51 to go in the game. 3rd and 4. Back to throw. Looking. Nobody to throw to, and he's going to go down as he's hit again and again. Joe Swanigan held him up long enough for Tyrone Dickerson to run down the field and get a great shot on the Mcadory quarterback. A big loss, and if I'm Mcadory, I just go ahead and punt here.
You might as well. And Dickerson sure is enjoying that, Greg. He got in there and got the final hit that put the quarterback down. It looked like he was going to break free until Dickerson got there and closed the deal.
Tyrone is a great kid. You see him around, he always has a smile on his face. He just has that kind of personality. He enjoys life, and you can tell that he loves playing this game, the game of football. 1:05 to go. Well, Mitchell, we mentioned a moment ago, we're on our way to Hayden. It's a region game, so it's a big one next week. Hayden, not a particularly strong team. We started kind of slow over there last year, got things cranked up, and ended up winning that game last year handily, 39-6. So we don't really know what to expect this year when we make a trip to Hayden. We know that Coleman shut them out 35-0. Outside of that, we don't really know what to think about Hayden.
Yeah, they I hadn't seen that much on them, but I know last year they were supposedly supposed to be kind of young, but apparently they're still kind of young or hadn't developed into what they need to be if they're getting beat pretty handily this year.
I know that during the spring of the year they suffered a real tragedy over there as a group of their cheerleaders had been to a cheerleading clinic in Aniana, and they were on their way back to Hayden, and they had a traffic accident, and a couple of those girls were killed. So a real tragedy for Hayden last year during their school year, and our thoughts and prayers were with them at that time, and I know that they're still healing from that this year, this school year. Something like that you don't get over anytime soon.
No, it's hard when you lose classmates, and especially when you lose several at once like that.
It's now a 4th down, and there will be a punt, and Walker not rushing at all. Here's the kick, and it's going to allow to roll dead at the Walker 34-yard line. Michael Tedford back there and they had been given instructions. It was obvious they had been given instructions not to touch the football.
Don't touch it, don't return it. Looks like the guys on the sideline are trying to make it to the coach with the water cooler, trying to surprise him. They got it hid behind Bobby Tucker and them.
And I'm not sure that Coach Holliday may be sensing something like that's going on, trying to stay out of the way. It's first down for the Vikings as Max Young is in the game. And Max gives this ball up the middle to Genesis McWhirter. So Genesis gets his name in the scorebook tonight with an offensive carry, a gain of a yard to the 35-yard line. 20 seconds to go. This will be the last snap of the game, barring a penalty. So there's a give. And running hard up the middle for the Vikings is number 33.
They got him, Gray.
They got him. They were able to wake Coach Holliday up. Number 33 for the Vikings is Malik Gaston. We've got to remember that, Mitchell, because we didn't have his number written down anywhere. So Malik Gaston, number 33, with that carry, and that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. A big win tonight for the Walker Vikings, 35-14 over the Mcadory Yellow Jackets. We will take a break here, and we'll be back in just a moment with some closing comments. We're back here to Cairo Gambrell Field. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman, and just having a conversation with some of the fans here leaving the game out the press box window, and it's all thumbs up around here. Big win tonight. Been a long, long time since a Walker team has beaten a ranked team here in our own home stadium, but a huge win tonight for the Walker Vikings over the Mcadory Yellow Jackets. Last week it was number 3 Coleman. This week number 4 Mcadory. And last week we grew up some. I really believe, Mitchell, that last week's game was good for us. You know, last year's Coleman game was a learning experience for us, and we grew up a lot. This year, same thing, because I think what it showed us last week is that, in fact, we could play with good teams. So it was a confidence boost. And that's what Coach Holliday said. You know, they came out this week and were very positive in practice and built on the good things that they did, and it's very obvious that whatever they did worked, because, boy, we came out and played some kind of good football tonight in the first half, taking charge, totally dominating the number 4 team in the state. And quite honestly, whether they deserve to be ranked number 4 or not is a matter of conjecture, but rest assured that they are ranked number 4, and we took it to them tonight, Mitchell.
Yes, and started early. Like you said, when you jump on them like that, it just takes so much momentum away from the team like that when they get jumped on. And like I said, Jared Henderson tonight, Greg, he was 10 for 14, 226 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns. He had 22 yards on the ground on 6 carries, and he had 2 touchdowns rushing. I know he bummed his ankle up on one of not on a touchdown run, but run in the third quarter there. I hope his ankles come back and was not, like you said, not going to be a bad injury, but he accounted for 2 on the ground, 3 for another 2. That's 4 touchdowns by Jared Henderson. He really had a real good game, and that's good to see him come back, play after not being able to play the first 2 games and then have a stellar game like this.
Well, we'll listen in for just a moment to Coach Holliday.
Night, okay? Hey, you know when it started? Monday. It started Monday because you came ready to go, because we knew we got embarrassed a little bit. We wasn't ready to play. We're ready to play tonight. Ready to play. And we're not going to let it happen again, are we? No! All right. Man, I don't know what to say. I'm proud of it. Bob, we got to get rid of them coolers, though, all right? Hey, great job. We're back in region now. We got to travel next week, be a little different. Monday, we got JV at Minor.
All right, well, you've heard what Coach Holliday had to say there. Very proud of his guys tonight and reminding them that tonight was a good win, but next week they got to go on the road to Hayden, and that is a region game, so it's back to real business, because ultimately the goal is to put ourselves in a position to make the state playoffs, because you know, you want to have a winning record, but quite frankly, what you want to do is make the state playoffs, and you want to go as deep into the playoffs as you possibly can and win a state championship.
Absolutely, Greg, and I'm anxious to see what we can do finally getting to go on the road next week.
Well, Jared Henderson, a big night tonight. Senior leadership taking place. Good night for the running backs. Great win for the Walker Vikings, 35-14 over the Mcadory Yellow Jackets. Proud to bring you the broadcast tonight. Greg Tinker along with Mitchell Pittman and the TV 55 crew. We'll see you next Friday night from Hayden, Alabama, 7 o'clock.